This is the story of when Pizza T, the day Pizza T met Kurt Cobain.
I was at, I believe it was the second to last Nirvana show in Seattle. I don't know if it was the Key Arena or what it was, the old Key Arena, I'm not sure, but regardless.
There's Pizza T. Over here, you will see people moshing, and there was a band playing. There's a hallway here. To the left, walking this way, to the left was where he got into the show. And on this side was a red curtain that went to like a backstage area. Now I was going potty over here.
Memories.
I might have not even used the restroom yet. I can't remember. I just know that I was like on the way to the bathroom or leaving the
I
bathroom.
was walking this way, going back to the show. I believe I was only 14 at the
To
time.
the right hand side of me, I just kind of saw out the corner of my eye, like this dude popping behind this like red curtain to the backstage area or whatever.
And oh my goodness, could it be? It
And
was.
it was Kurt Cobain. He was kind of like looking at me. He was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Whoa."
And I saw him, and he saw me.
And it was weird. I mean, I had at the time, I believe I had green dreads. I believe they were green at the time. Really ghetto dreads. I got thin hair. I had like a little hippie backpack. I remember it was like blue and white. I missed that backpack, but it was a blue and white backpack, and it had like Sonic Youth patches on it.
Oh,
I had my.
it was a Sonic Youth. That's why he was.
Maybe that's what he saw. Maybe it was mind-boggling to him that there's like a hippie kid that likes Sonic Youth at his show. So Kurt Cobain, like I said, I saw Kurt Cobain. I kind of like, okay, he's like looking at me. He's kind of signaling me to come talk to him.
I walked over to him, I was pretty nervous. It was pretty weird.
Like, what was I gonna go do? Like, go start a band with Kurt Cobain? I walked towards him. I was like, hey. And he's like, hey. And I was like, wow. And I believe we like shook hands. I was like,
Yeah.
And then I was like, this must be really weird. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, like, you're like famous, right? You're like, kids at my school like dress like you, And he was like,
oh, you want to know something really weird? And I was like, what? He's like, I was at my old high school the other day, and I was wearing a cheerleader outfit. I was like, whoa, okay, right on.
I think it was like maybe that's what they're all gonna start wearing next,
Yeah.
Which a few did, I'm sure. Like my brother, actually, he took it to the next level, dressing like a girl at school.
And I don't know what it was about why he showed this interest in me, because he was really wanting to talk to me for some reason.
And then as we were talking, it was like really small talk. I can't. That's the one thing I really remember in the conversation.
So I do remember that these two girls showed up. Oh my god! Oh my god! And they're like, oh, do you got a cigarette? First thing they did was bum a cigarette off Kurt Cobain. And he's,
oh yeah, sure. I'm quitting after this pack. And I believe him that's what he thought he was doing, And
he gave him a cigarette, and he lit up a cigarette too.
I was like, okay. I wasn't about to bum a cigarette off of him first. I was just like.
At it, but he turned his big blue eyes back over to me and continued with our conversation.
He was like really like passionately like talking to me, like he wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
Be like nice, like he was not arrogant, egotistical. He was not hunting down hot chicks. Then really like out of the mosh pit area, these guys are like, oh dude, sweaty with their shirts off, like way cool, and they're like rock jocks or whatever. And
oh dude, oh my god.
Whoa, Kurt Cobain! This like interrupted our conversation, like just like I love your song, I love Bleach, and they start naming all songs from Bleach. Let me think. Can you name a song off of Bleach for me?
Mr. Mustache.
There you go, Mr. Mustache. You're like, Mr. Mustache is my favorite song. Kurt Cobain didn't give a fuck.
Kurt Cobain literally rolled his eyes
It's just
at
like
them.
right back to me.
And he was like, what were you saying again? And just gave them the brick wall, dude.
And I just remember it so well, and he was just like, looked down at me and just like kept talking.
He was super nice to me. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, da 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 da, and then all of a sudden here comes Courtney Love on the side of the there, and she's like, "Hurry up, come on!" And she literally ripped him away from me and took him. He was like, "Bye."
Everybody.
Oh.
I know.
And I was standing there, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
And they kind of walked away, and these girls walked away, and I was like literally standing there. All of a sudden, I started off standing there by myself, and then saw Kurt Cobain. And then all this stuff happened. Then when it was all said and done, I was still standing there by myself, and I was like, skipped in my loo.
And then I went, and I just went into here, just left, and I just had this glimmer of joy. I believe the Butthole Surfers were playing.
And saw my friend John Dukes. He thought
That's
he was
cool.
He thought he was moshing. Like if you imagine the mosh pit just go whoo, whoo, and then it's all empty back here.
And I saw him. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Laying against the mosh pit, on the
Yeah.
outside of the mosh pit, drunk with a bottle of Jack Daniels, just like, whoa, hey Tommy! I was like, whoa, hey John. And if you want to see John Dukes, he's in that the video I showed you with KCG Clooney for president.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And when they show that picture of all like me hanging out with my friends and stuff, like you'll see John Dukes there. And John Dukes actually called me today, concerned about my situation of now. And like he's a really good friend.
Nirvana hit the stage right after that band, and
Wow.
and I just was like, I was blessed. I was one of the few people that got to meet Kurt Cobain that didn't have a backstage pass.
That's my experience with Kurt Cobain, and I cherish that moment, and I'm happy that you cherish it with me. And
That's
that
really cool, Tom.
I feel like I'm present in the present with that, just talking about it. And,
But thanks for sharing that.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Very, very. It makes me feel really happy every time I think about that moment. like you know, because I do not think that Kurt Cobain was anti-hippie. You know, I mean, why would he be friends with Danny Kelly? He was friends with Kurt Cobain, you know, and because they all lived around here, and Kurt Cobain watched his cats once. Like, they knew each other, and regardless of that, Danny Kelly is hippie, loves the Grateful Dead, and Courtney Love, on top of that, was on the back of the Oxamox Grateful Dead album cover because she was her parents were
Her dad.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that attracted Kurt Cobain to Courtney Love was she was in the Sid and Nancy movie, and she was super punk rock, but she grew up with the Grateful Dead, and she took acid when she was 3, and Kurt Cobain was just like, whoa, you know, and who knows? That's probably going a little deep into
There's
it.
some
There's some stuff I would think that he said that he didn't necessarily mean, like if he said mean stuff about the Grateful Dead or Eric Clapton. Like people change, and I don't think Kurt Cobain got to get old enough to experience that change. He was just a 20-something-year-old guy. Tears in Heaven is a really, really good song, and that I'll just leave it there.
I think we all know that about Kurt Cobain. He was a very genuine man, and very down to earth, to say the least. You know.
And that's what I told Mike Gordon from Phish when I met Mike Gordon a couple years later in Canada, the bass player for the band Phish. And so I hate to say it because I love Phish, they're like my favorite band, but I don't actually hate to say it, it's just I'm going to say it. He was kind of a dick. He's kind of too cool for school.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, don't act, why are you acting like, you know, like, it's too cool to talk to me? I was like, I met Kurt Cobain, he was so nice, you know, and it's like, I had to keep, maybe I was being a dick, I was like, if you're fucking, like, famous.
He was very humble, you know, all the interviews I've seen, he's like,
Kurt Cobain's very humble.
Humble and funny, you know.
Yeah. So after I told Mike Gordon from Phish that I hung out with Kurt Cobain, and that, you know, if you're famous and you're outside of your own show, you're gonna get bombarded by stupid kids like me that are gonna say stupid shit. So, and then I played Mike Gordon a song, Debbie Gibson's Only in My Dream, and Mike Gordon was actually really nice to me after all that, and he was cool. And like this situation with these different people that came into the entities, Mike Gordon was talking to some like super heady, dready people at the time. Yeah. I remember when I was driving down to California to go visit my dad when I was a little kid, and that's when Teen Spirit just hit the radios and hit a Buzz clip on MTV, and I know I heard the song before, and I heard it on the radio, and I was like, oh, that's the song. I was so stoked.
Yeah.
then afterwards, I swear they're like, that was a new song from Skid Row. So the whole rest of the trip, I was like, Skid Row, man, I didn't know they were that good. But I think they were like...
I was 8 when that song came out, and that was like the coolest thing ever. As an 8-year-old, the only thing I wanted out of life was to have a truck, a big-ass stereo system in it, and play Teen Spirit.
Oh, excellent.
With my hot blonde girlfriend. You know, that was
Hold
my...
on, let me I want to meet your hot blonde girlfriend. Alright, just kidding. Alright, I want to play something. I was really pissed, speaking of the band Fish, I was really pissed when they covered Teen Spirit and didn't play it like they're so good. How do you fuck up Teen Spirit? Like,
I know.
Put a little energy into it.
Yeah.